When you think about investment, what comes to mind? Stocks, real estate, a business venture, maybe even your retirement account. But let's set all that aside for a moment. The greatest investment you can ever make, the one that will yield the highest return, that is the time and energy you pour into yourself. You're the only asset that will always be with you. Everything else in this world, the cars, the houses, the money, the fame is temporary. But you, your skills, your mindset, your knowledge, and your growth, those are yours for life. And they're the ones that will carry you through the toughest moments and open doors to opportunities when everything else seems uncertain. We live in a world obsessed with external markers of success. The flashy cars, the big houses, the designer clothes, and the latest gadgets. But none of these things, as impressive as they may seem on the surface, are the true measure of your worth. The world can give you accolades, but it can't give you character. It can give you fame, but it can't give you vision. It can give you money, but it can't give you purpose. And that's where investing in yourself becomes paramount. The first rule of investing is simple. The better the asset, the better the return. You are the best asset you have. Your mind, your spirit, your heart, and your body are the only real possessions you can count on. Everything else is fleeting, but you are constant. The knowledge you gain, the strength you build, the experiences you have, these are the things that will continue to pay dividends throughout your life. So how do you invest in yourself? It's a lot more than just reading books or taking classes. Of course, those things matter, but they're only part of the picture. Investing in yourself means understanding your worth and doing the work to grow, improve, and evolve. You've got to start with the basics. How you treat yourself, how you see yourself, and how you make choices that lead you toward becoming the person you want to be. You got to build your foundation. Just as a house is nothing without a solid foundation, you're nothing without a strong sense of self. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't take time to recognize your value, how can you expect the world to? But that doesn't mean you just sit back and hope things will magically fall into place. No, you got to take action. Investment is active. It's not something you do once and then forget about. You have to continually put in the work. The work on your mental health, on your physical health, on your emotional intelligence. The work on your skills, your relationships, just changing your perspective. All of these areas need consistent effort if you're to see real long-term change. Take a moment and think about your goals. What kind of person do you want to become in the next 5 or 10 years? Picture yourself in that future. The choices you make today, the time you invest in yourself today, will determine whether or not that vision becomes a reality. Every hour you spend working on your personal growth, every sacrifice you make for the sake of your future self, it all adds up. It compounds. But let's get real about this. Investment comes with risk. When you invest in the stock market, there's always a risk that you'll lose your money. When you invest in real estate, there's always the risk that property values might fall. Similarly, when you invest in yourself, there's always the risk that you might fail. That's part of the journey. But let me tell you something. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. The greatest minds in history failed more times than most people ever dared to try. But they didn't let those failures define them. Instead, they used them as lessons. Lessons that made them better, stronger, and wiser. Investing in yourself doesn't mean you'll never face challenges or setbacks. It means that even in the face of those obstacles, you will have the tools, the mindset, and the resilience to overcome them. When you spend time developing yourself, you build a reservoir out to draw from when life gets tough. You become unshakable because you know that at the end of the day, the best asset you have is the one looking back at you in the mirror. This is the power of personal investment. It's about taking control of your destiny, understanding that you are your own greatest asset, and nurturing that asset every single day. The world might give you a lot of things, but the one thing it can't give you is a stronger, better version of yourself. That's on you. And the best part? When you invest in yourself, you don't have to wait for anyone else to recognize your worth. You already know it. And the moment you commit to this investment, your life begins to shift. You'll start to make different decisions. You'll start to surround yourself with people who uplift and challenge you. You'll begin to focus on things that bring value to your life and eliminate the distractions that drain you. In short, When you invest in yourself, everything about your world starts to align with your purpose and vision. You gotta treat yourself like you're the most important person in the room, because you are. The way you speak to yourself, the habits you form, the choices you make, they all contribute to the person you're becoming. And when you make yourself better, the world starts to notice. You start to see more opportunities. You start to attract people who resonate with your energy and vision. In the end, it all comes down to this. You can have everything the world offers, but if you don't have the discipline to build yourself, none of it will matter. The real wealth is inside you. Your mind is your greatest asset. Your time is your greatest resource. And when you spend that time wisely investing in your growth and development, you'll see returns that will outlast anything else in this world. Remember, you are your greatest investment. Discipline is not just a trait, it's a choice. Every day, we face countless distractions. The world we live in is a constant whirlwind of noise, urgent demands, and shiny objects pulling at our attention. Our phones are designed to grab us with pings, alerts, and notifications that promise something new, something urgent, something important. The social media constantly bombards us with updates that tell us about the lives of others, inviting us into worlds of comparison and distraction. The challenge is no longer a lack of things to do, but the overwhelming pressure to do them all at once. But here's the truth. You can't chase every opportunity and still reach your destination. Without discipline, you will find yourself in a cycle of start and stop forever on the edge of burnout, constantly bouncing from one task to the next with no true progress. The moment you allow distractions to control your attention is the moment your growth stagnates. You'll wake up days, months, or years from now asking, what happened to my goals? That's because the time you spend chasing distractions is time you aren't investing in your future. And every moment you waste, no matter how small it seems, adds up to a significant loss over time. Now, don't get it twisted. We're all human. We all have a natural urge to get distracted, to put things off, or to give in to temptation. It's a part of being human. But that's why discipline is so important. It's not about never being distracted. It's about how you respond when those distractions inevitably appear. Discipline is the ability to set priorities and stick to them even when other things come up. It's having the self-control to say no to things that are easy or comfortable, but don't serve your long-term goal. It's choosing to take the hard road, the one that requires sacrifice, the one that requires focus, knowing that the rewards of staying disciplined are far greater than the fleeting pleasures of distraction. Think about it this way. You cannot expect to get to the top of the mountain if you keep getting sidetracked by the view along the way. Every time you take your eyes off the path and start admiring the scenery, you fall behind. Yes, the view may be beautiful, but it's not your destination. The journey requires you to keep moving forward, regardless of what's happening around you. Distractions are the thieves of time, and time is your most valuable resource. You can't buy more time. You can't get back the hours you've wasted. It's the one thing that once lost is gone forever. When you allow distractions to take over, you're essentially gambling with your future. And yet, people are more willing to risk their future on these distractions than they are willing to invest in themselves. Discipline, on the other hand, is what builds your future. Every time you choose to stay focused on your goals, every time you say no to something aligned with your vision, you're making a deposit into the life you want to live. It's about consistency, not perfection. Success doesn't happen in a day, but over time, it's the steady, disciplined effort that compounds. The little actions you take each day that eventually lead to big results. Discipline isn't easy. If it were, everyone would be successful. It takes effort, resilience, and sometimes even a little bit of pain. There will be times when it feels easier to just scroll through your social media, to binge watch that show, or to get involved in unnecessary drama. But in those moments, you have to remember, the easy road is rarely the rewarding one. The quick fix it, the immediate gratifications, they don't build long-term success. Building a life of discipline requires a clear vision. When you know where you're going, you're less likely to be distracted by the chaos around you. Your focus is sharpened, your priorities become clear, and you know exactly what you need to do. And discipline means not only staying focused, but also learning how to say no. You encounter opportunities and temptations every single day that threaten to pull you off course. But the strength of your no will determine the strength of your yes. When you say no to distractions, you're saying yes to your future. You're saying yes to the life you worked hard to create. This is where most people fall short. They allow the distractions of the world to dictate their schedule, their mood, and their direction. They don't realize that they have the power to take control of their time, to dictate their day, and to eliminate those distractions before they ever take hold. You don't need to be constantly entertained or constantly stimulated. You need to be focused. You need to be dedicated. You need to protect your time like it's gold, because that's exactly what it is. It's also important to note that discipline doesn't just apply to work or productivity. It applies to every area of your life. The disciplined athlete shows up to practice, even when it's rainy, when their body aches. The disciplined student studies, even when the latest movie release is tempting. The disciplined person makes healthy choices, even when they're tired or stressed. Discipline is about understanding that short-term discomfort leads to long-term success. So it's about having the foresight to see beyond the immediate and into the future. So what can you do to strengthen your discipline and minimize distractions? Start by defining your goals. What do you want to accomplish? What does success look like for you? Once you've identified that, make a commitment to focus on it and eliminate anything that doesn't support that vision. Keep your eyes on the prize and don't let anything, not the phone, not the distractions, not the urgent, but irrelevant tasks, get in your way. Remember, every time you choose discipline over distractions, you are making a choice for your future. You are choosing to show up for your dreams, to build a life that reflects your true potential. And as you keep making that choice, day after day, moment after moment, you will look up one day and realize that the person you become, the life you build, is the very one you always dreamed of. Discipline will get you there. Distractions will only take you away. Growth is one of the most fundamental aspects of life. We're all wired for progress, for evolution, for becoming better versions of ourselves. But here's the harsh reality. Growth is not easy, and it doesn't happen by accident. It requires sacrifice, and that's something most people don't want to hear. We live in a world that promotes convenience, instant gratification, and ease. We're told that success should be fast, smooth, and effortless, but that couldn't be further from the truth. True growth requires that we step outside of our comfort zones. It demands that we give up something in the short term in order to achieve something far greater in the long run. Whether it's giving up a moment of pleasure to work toward a greater goal, or sacrificing time, energy, or even relationships to prioritize what really matters, growth requires that we make tough choices. The first sacrifice you'll encounter on your journey of growth is time. Time is the most precious resource you have, yet it is the one that many people waste the most. If you want to grow, you need to be disciplined with how you spend your time. Are you dedicating time to your personal development? Are you investing in learning, improving your skills, and working on your mindset? Or are you spending countless hours on distractions that don't serve your growth? Every hour spent doing something that doesn't contribute to your goals is an hour that could have been used to grow. And that's a hard pill to swallow. Growth means saying no to things that are comfortable but ultimately unimportant. It means putting aside the trivial distraction, the TV shows, the social media scrolling, the time spent in gossip, and investing that time into activities that will move you closer to your goals. You'll have to sacrifice the easy, the fun, and the comfortable to gain the hard, the meaningful, and the lasting. But time isn't the only thing you'll have to sacrifice. Comfort is another major barrier to growth. We all love being comfortable. Comfort is familiar, it's safe, and it feels good. But comfort is the enemy of progress. It's only in discomfort that we truly grow. Think about it. When was the last time you grew as a person by doing something easy? When was the last time a breakthrough came from sitting around doing what you've always done? It doesn't happen. Growth demands discomfort. This could mean waking up earlier than you'd like to work on your goals. It could mean taking on more responsibility, even when it feels like you don't have the time or energy. It could mean pushing through mental and emotional barriers, facing fears, and confronting self-doubt. Every step forward requires you to give up some level of comfort. But that discomfort is the price of progress. Another crucial sacrifice is security. Growth often requires you to step into the unknown, to take risks that shake the stability you've worked hard to establish. Whether it's leaving a job you know for one that challenges you more, starting a new project that you're not sure will succeed, or taking on a challenge that forces you to grow in ways you didn't expect, these risks feel uncertain and even scary. You have to sacrifice your sense of security, the safety net that you've relied on. Take a leap of faith into something that requires courage, belief, and perseverance. But here's the truth. Without risk, there is no reward. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by staying in their comfort zones. They took risks, and yes, sometimes they failed, but even in failure, they grew. The sacrifice of security led to the growth of something far more valuable. The confidence and knowledge that comes from taking action, learning from mistakes, and pushing forward. Growth also requires you to sacrifice old habits that no longer serve you. This is often the hardest sacrifice to make because our habits are deeply ingrained. We tend to operate on autopilot, repeating the same actions and thinking the same thoughts day in and day out. But those old habits, the ones that kept you stuck in the past, have to go if you want to move forwards. No more business. Growth requires that you develop new habits, new patterns of thinking, and new ways of behaving. This might mean sacrificing procrastination for productivity or sacrificing self-doubt for self-belief. It could mean giving up toxic relationships or environments that drag you down in order to surround yourself with people who inspire, challenge, and uplift you. It could mean letting go of old excuses, of blaming external circumstances, and taking full responsibility for your life. Changing habits takes time, effort, and most of all, sacrifice. You have to be willing to let go of who you were in order to become who you are meant to be. But perhaps the biggest sacrifice of all is the sacrifice of immediate gratification for long-term success. We live in an era where everything is available at the touch of a button. We've become accustomed to getting what we want when we want it, but growth doesn't work that way. You can't expect to put in minimal effort and see maximum results. True growth is the result of consistent, sustained effort over time. It's about having the patience and discipline to delay immediate pleasure for something greater in the future. It's like planting a seed. You don't see results right away. You have to water it, nurture it, and be patient. Only after a long time with consistent care will that seed grow into a tree. The same principle applies to your personal growth. You can't expect to see immediate rewards for every effort. But if you stay committed, if you stay disciplined, and if you stay focused on your long-term vision, you will eventually see the fruits of your labor. In the end, growth is about choosing the difficult path, the one that requires sacrifice. It's about understanding that the challenges, the discomfort, the time, and the energy you invest today will all pay off tomorrow. Without sacrifice, there can be no true growth. But with it, you can unlock the full potential of who you are meant to be. If you truly want to grow, you must be willing to make sacrifices. Not just for a day or a week, but consistently for the rest of your life. It's the price you pay for becoming the person you were always meant to be. And when you look back at the sacrifices you made along the way, you'll realize they were worth every single one. Education is often thought of as something that happens in a classroom, a rigid, structured environment where you sit through lectures, take exams, and eventually graduate. For many, education ends when they receive their diploma, and life moves forward with the belief that the most important lessons have already been learned. But in reality, the most crucial education you will ever receive happens outside the classroom, and it doesn't end when you graduate. It continues constantly throughout your life. The idea that learning stops after formal schooling is not only outdated, it's dangerous. It sets a limit on the potential you can reach and closes off the possibility of growth in ways you can't even imagine. The world around us is constantly changing. Technology advances, industries evolve, and new challenges emerge that require new skills and new perspectives. If you stop learning, you stop adapting. And if you stop adapting, you risk being left behind. Education is not just about gathering facts or passing tests. It's about cultivating a mindset that is always open to new ideas, new information, and new ways of thinking. The most successful people in the world, whether they're entrepreneurs, artists, or thought leaders, are the ones who understand that education doesn't have a finish line. They are always learning, always improving, always seeking out new knowledge that can give them an edge. But education goes beyond books. It's about learning from your experiences. Every single moment of your life is an opportunity to learn. Your successes teach you what works, but your failure, mistakes, your setbacks are often your greatest teachers. When you learn from failure, when you take the lessons from your mistakes and apply them moving forward, you build resilience, wisdom, and insight that no textbook can provide. Real education is a combination of intellectual growth and life experience, and it's that combination that makes you truly powerful. What's more, the ability to learn and grow doesn't stop at any age. We often think of education as something reserved for the young, for those in school or college. But as long as you're alive, there's always something new to learn. In fact, as you age, your ability to acquire new skills and knowledge becomes even more valuable. The key is staying curious, staying hungry for new insights, and never letting your mind become stagnant. The idea that the education process is limited to a few years in your life is a dangerous one. It's a mindset that says, I've learned enough. I've done my time. I paid my dime. I paid my dues. But this mindset shuts the door to opportunity. Think of the most successful individuals you admire. What do they have in common? One of the main things is that they are always learning, growing, and evolving. They don't believe that there's a finish line to their education. They recognize that true mastery requires continual learning. Furthermore, education is no longer confined to the traditional methods. The world is brimming with opportunities for self-education. You don't need to sit in a classroom to gain valuable knowledge. You have access to a wealth of information at your fingertips. Online courses, podcasts, videos, books, webinars, seminars, mentorship. The list goes on and on. There's a wealth of free and paid resources available to anyone who is willing to put in the time and effort. The barriers to acquiring new skills and knowledge have never been lower, yet so many people still limit their education to what they learned in school, failing to realize the opportunities that exist for them to learn on their own terms. Learning is not just about academic knowledge, it's about learning to become the best version of yourself. This includes learning how to manage your emotions, build relationships, communicate effectively, think critically, and develop your leadership skills. These are the types of skills that separate the successful from the unsuccessful, the fulfilled from the unfulfilled, are skills that aren't taught in traditional classrooms, but are essential for navigating the complexities of life. If you want to make your mark on the world, you have to understand that education is your tool. It's the weapon that will help you face challenges, create opportunities, and build the future you want. And that education isn't something that will just happen to you. You have to be proactive. You have to seek it out, chase it down, and make it a part of your daily life. A commitment to lifelong learning will keep you sharp, keep you competitive, and keep you relevant. It will give you the confidence to take on new projects, to step into new roles, and to tackle challenges you once thought were beyond your capability. It will enable you to become an expert in your field, but it will also give you the flexibility to adapt to new fields and industries as the world changes. Additionally, lifelong learning doesn't just benefit you as an individual, it can benefit everyone around you. As you grow and develop, you become a more effective leader, a more supportive friend, a more capable family member. Your ability to teach others and share your knowledge becomes a valuable resource for your community. When you are dedicated to education, you are not just growing yourself, you are growing those around you, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond your own personal success. The key is understanding that the learning process is ongoing. Whether it's through formal education, personal exploration, or simply being open to new experiences, you must continue to seek out knowledge. Never stop learning, because the moment you do, you begin to close yourself off to opportunities and growth. The education never stops. It doesn't matter how old you are, how far you've come, or how successful you've been. Life is a continuous journey of learning, evolving, and adapting to new circumstances. Those who recognize this and commit to lifelong learning are the ones who will keep growing, keep achieving, and keep making a real impact on the world around them. Consistency is one of the most underrated, yet most powerful forces in the world. It's easy to look at successful people and think that they've reached their achievements because of some extraordinary talent or a single moment of brilliance. But the truth is, what separates those who succeed from those who don't is often something far simpler: consistency. It's the ability to show up day in and day out, regardless of how you feel, what obstacles you face, or what distractions come your way. In a world that values instant results and quick fixes, consistency can seem like an afterthought. People often expect things to happen quickly, to see immediate rewards for their efforts. They want to feel the rush of accomplishment in a short period of time. But what they fail to understand is that true success is built through gradual, incremental progress. It's not the one big breakthrough that changes everything, but the steady, relentless commitment to doing the right things consistently over time. Think about any major success story, whether in sports, business, or the arts. Behind every achievement, you will find consistency. The athlete who trains every day, even when the body aches, even when there's no immediate competition. The entrepreneur who works tirelessly on their business, even when the results aren't visible right away. The artist who practices their craft every single day, regardless of whether they feel inspired or not. These are not one-off events. These are people who understand that consistency is the key to mastery. It's easy to start something, to get excited, to dive in with energy and passion. But the true test of character and success is how long you can sustain that effort. It's about staying committed when the excitement wears off, when the novelty fades, and when you're faced with challenges that make it feel easier to quit than to push forward. This is where most people falter. They start strong, but don't have the consistency to see things through. They get distracted by short-term gratification or discouraged by slow progress. But the ones who succeed are those who keep showing up, even when the going gets tough, because they know that consistent action, no matter how small, compounds over time. Consistency creates momentum. When you do something consistently, you build a rhythm, a pattern that becomes automatic. The more you do something, the easier it becomes to do it again, and the more progress you make. Every small action you take adds up, and over time, those small actions lead to big results. It's the law of compounding effort. Whether it's reading a few pages of a book every day, exercising for 20 minutes, or working on your business for an hour, these small, consistent actions create a snowball effect that accelerates your growth. But it's important to recognize that consistency isn't about perfection. It's about showing up even when it's not easy, even when it's not perfect. No one is consistent 100% of the 100% of the time, and no one is flawless. There will be days when you miss a workout, skip a study session, or fall short of your goals. That's okay. The key is not to let those moments of imperfection derail you. The most important thing is to get back on track as quickly as possible. Consistency isn't about never failing. It's about getting back up every time you fall. It's about making progress, not perfection. Consistency also helps you build resilience. The more you commit to showing up every day, no matter what, the more you strengthen your ability to push through difficulties. It's not just about doing the work, it's about developing the mental toughness to continue even when you don't feel like it. The process of showing up again and again builds character and teaches you the value of persistence. People often underestimate the power of consistency because it doesn't come with the same instant gratification that other pursuits might offer. The path to success through consistent effort is often long, and the rewards may seem distant. But this is what makes consistency such a powerful tool. It's reliable, it's predictable, and it's something within your control. It's the one thing you can count on when everything else is uncertain. When you make consistency a part of your daily life, you build a foundation for long-term success. Success isn't about big, dramatic moments. It's about the quiet, everyday commitment to doing the right things, even when no one is watching. The quiet work you put in today might not seem significant, but over time, it adds up. It builds upon itself, and before you know it, you've accomplished something extraordinary. Think about building a habit. When you start, it feels awkward, difficult, and you might not see any immediate rewards. But over time, as you continue to show up, as you commit to the process, that habit becomes a part of who you are. It becomes second nature. This is how success is built. It's the gradual, incremental improvement, the little actions taken every day that lead to extraordinary outcomes. Consistency is also about patience. We live in a world where people want things fast. They want quick wins, immediate success. But consistency requires you to be patient, to trust the process. It's about understanding that results don't always happen right away, but if you keep showing up, they will come. Success is rarely an overnight phenomenon. It's the result of consistent action over time. The key is to focus on the process, not the immediate result. As you continue to show up, as you continue to put in the work, the results will start to speak for themselves. It may take longer than you expect, but that's okay. Trust the process. Keep going. In the end, consistency is the secret ingredient to long-term success. It's the ability to keep pushing forward day after day, no matter how challenging it may seem. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's about making progress every single day, no matter how small. And over time, that consistency will compound into massive success. In conclusion, the journey of personal growth and success is not about sudden breakthroughs or waiting for that one moment to change everything. It's about the small, consistent efforts you put in day after day, even when no one is watching. It's about understanding that growth requires sacrifice, that the process of education never stops, and that true mastery comes from constant, focused improvement. Each step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goals. But none of this is possible without consistency. You are the sum of your habits, your choices, and the actions you take each and every day. If you want to be better, to grow, to succeed, you must commit to the journey, understanding that it will take time, patience, and persistence. There will be challenges, setbacks, and moments where you question whether it's worth it. But remember, it's the consistency, the steady and unwavering commitment to progress that separates those who reach their potential from those who give up along the way. So spend time making yourself better. Invest in your growth, embrace the discomfort of sacrifice, and remember that success is built on the foundation of small, consistent steps. Stay patient, stay committed, and never stop learning. Because in the end, it's not the flashes of brilliance that create lasting success, but the quiet, powerful force of consistent effort over time. Keep moving forward and your best self will emerge, stronger, wiser, and unstoppable.